What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to kdjTV. I've got a banger for you all today. Something a lot of people have been asking me about because suddenly I know how to play Battle Royale. I can't believe it either. Trust me, I'm also shocked. So MLB The Show 23 has been out for just about a month-ish. I've already gone flawless twice and gotten another 12-1 run. Maybe I've been lucky. Maybe I've become cracked. Maybe a combination of both, I don't know. But either way, today in this video, I'm going to go through an entire BR draft with you, from start to finish, pick 1 to pick 26, and talk about the best ways to draft a team, the best strategies to use, the best ways to approach crafting a flawless squad. Of course, strategies will differ from person to person. I am just offering you my opinion on how I think a draft should go. I have my favorite cards that are probably different than your favorite cards. So, of course, certain situations will be applicable to you and not others. But either way, this is just a baseline. This is how I go about it. If you find this video helpful, first of all, I'm very happy that it helped you out a little bit. But make sure you like and subscribe. Very important. Comment down below any BR questions you might have if you're struggling to get over a certain win threshold. If anything, really, just let me have your BR questions down below. I will do my best to answer each one. All right, let's go draft the team, and let's go flawless. YouTube, it's important to know, by the way, that this will not have gameplay. This will just be the drafting of the team. I'll maybe give you guys an update video later on to see how it went. A couple starting points before we actually jump into the draft. I wrote them down to make sure that I didn't forget them. I will, of course, elaborate on them if they appear in real time in the draft. But first of all, generally speaking, make sure you're using good swings. I know that sounds so stupid, but don't just draft a card because you think everyone else is good with it, so should I. If you're not good with the card, don't use it. Leave it alone. BR is such a small sample size where you get limited at-bats per game. Maximize your possibilities of success. Leave the bad cards or the bad swings alone. Don't draft them. Secondly, generally speaking, you're going to want to go after power over contact. This year's game, MLB The Show 23, does operate a little bit differently. Some guys who have higher contacts, lower power, are okay. Not great, but they're okay. Andres Gimenez at second base, for example, his gold card, actually plays pretty well, even though his power is not incredible. But generally speaking, we're targeting power. In the past, in BR, starting pitchers were essentially meaningless. You just punted them, left them alone. If it was a blowout, if it was an emergency, you had them. With the way stamina kind of works this year, and with the way hitting is so overpowered compared to pitching, it's so weird to be saying that because we've never said that before. Your starting pitchers kind of matter a little bit. I'm not saying you need to draft diamond starters. If you'd like to, go right ahead. My personal philosophy, I don't draft any diamond pitchers ever. I feel like they're not worth it. I'd rather have the bat. But your starting pitchers do kind of matter. If you want to use a silver pick or two on a starter, go right ahead. The most important thing, I think, in a flawless team that differentiates itself from a team that is struggling is maximizing your bronze rounds. You're going to want to find glitchy bronzes. You don't want bronzes just to be on the bench or in the rotation. There are a handful, more than a handful, several handfuls of BR relievers who are bronzes, who are viable. Yency Almonte, Yimi Garcia, Joe Kelly's not bad. There are a lot of lefties you can get away with. Aaron Loop. So make sure you're doing your best to maximize your bronzes. There are also some bronze hitters, honestly, that aren't bad. Live Series Matt Carpenter is pretty effing good. Guys like that, make sure you are really doing the research, doing the work, spending time on each pick. This goes without saying. Always take the supercharged players. Whether they're relievers, starters, or hitters, take them. Figure out the positioning of them later. Always take the supercharges. It's a free 99, quite literally. But it's also good to know which cards are supercharged going into the draft, because you can kind of manipulate your draft. For example, Brandon Lau, second baseman, and Pete Alonso, first baseman. Those are two of my must-draft cards. If they come up, I don't care who else I have on the team, I draft them. There will be drafts where I try to purposely leave second base and first base open for the rounds for me to get them. It doesn't always work. Sometimes I end up actually screwing myself. But if you're smart and you play it right, you can manipulate the draft to get the cards you want. And then lastly, the bench this year, it's not used the same way. Clearly, we don't have a pitcher hitting anymore, so we don't have automatic pinch hitters. But you do want to have a few things on your bench. You have to have somebody with speed. He doesn't have to be in the 90s, but you gotta have somebody who can pinch run in a tight situation. You have to have a couple guys who can help you with matchups. Even if they're marginally better versus lefties or righties, you have to have somebody you can go to in a pinch. It also helps to have a backup catcher. It's not a necessity, but it is nice to have a backup catcher. I found myself doing this quite a lot in my last BR run. I went 12-1, Got Mookie Betts as my reward for 12 wins. Defensive replacements. I had Kyle Schwarber in left field. I didn't want Kyle Schwarber in left field. So I had some defensive guys that I could move around to make it work. Those were just quick little talking points. We're going to do the draft now. I'm going to talk you through every single pick. We're going to draft a good team. All right. So, to be completely honest, this is not my favorite first round. Mark McGwire is a first baseman who I think does not have a good swing. We're never going to take Edwin Diaz here. Jim Edmonds is whatever. Gary Sheffield is okay. I actually think I'm going to take Gary Sheffield here. It seems weird not to take the 99, but I think there are other first basemen that are valuable in the gold or even silver range that I don't have to waste McGwire. I don't have to waste a first base diamond. So I'm going to take Sheffield here. To the program rounds. We are talking about going flawless. We are not talking about completing the program. So for me, I always pick the same program players. They're the ones I do best with. As you can see here, I have MJ Melendez P4, barely touch the rest of them. I enjoy MJ Melendez. I think he slaps. I think he's one of the best catchers you could use right now on All-Star difficulty. So I'm taking MJ and I'm not thinking twice. Same thing goes here. A lot of people love Fletcher, a lot of people love George, but I'm trying to leave first base open for Pete Alonso. Because starting pitchers matter a little bit, I like Vance Worley. Make sure you check pitches out. Sinker, cutter. Decent location, his control's okay. Velo's on the little slow side, but you're just trying to get 3, 4, maybe 5 outs with your starting pitchers. So I'm taking Vance. And the only Erasmo Ramirez might literally be one of the best silver relievers of all time. He is insane sinker cutter, great control, good pitch differentials. I love Erasmo a ton. He's on my team. He's usually my stopper. If I need help in a tight situation, he's coming in the game. Now, bronze rounds. This is where we got to do our research. So as we see here, Marcus Wilson. We're going to start from right to left. Marcus Wilson is essentially useless. No disrespect to Marcus Wilson. Keston Hiura is horrible. Disrespect to Keston Hiura. This is between Jesse Chavez, who's playing up, always look at inside edge. Inside edge is important. And Chris Flexen. Chris Flexen is a starting pitcher who throws a cutter. We love that. But when you look at Jesse Chavez, cutter, sinker, circle change. Sweep and curve you can kind of bury on occasion, but he's plus 12s to hits per 9 and Ks per 9. Jesse Chavez is one of those glitchy bronze relievers, so we're taking Jesse Chavez. Boom. Back to a diamond round. Honestly, a pretty good one. Ian Happ, we love switch hitters. We always love switch hitters. I actually have not fared particularly well with this card, but I love Ian Happ's swing. He has positional flexibility, which is super important when you're putting together a BR team. You never know where you're going to have to get nasty and move some stuff around. David Wright's a great card. Jose Altuve is good for second base, but his fielding is really bad. I'm going to go Ian Happ here. His primary's left. He'll probably end up playing left, but in a pinch, if we got to move him, we can move him. This is not a fantastic silver round. Chris Bassett, cutter sinker. I kind of like that. He might end up being the pick here. Alex Lange is a good reliever. He doesn't have great control. Generally speaking, also, by the way, I don't think negative inside edges on relievers is the biggest deal. They're all bronzes and silvers anyway. They're going to get smacked around anyway. I don't dwell on inside edge being down for relievers. I might be in the minority there, but it just doesn't bother me as much. Rowdy Tellez is excellent, and he's only -1 versus righties, and that is essentially meaningless. But because I want Pete Alonso, or I'm going to try to get Pete Alonso, I actually think I'm going to take Bassett here. Decent starter. He can give me 4 outs, 5 outs. Throws a sinker cutter. This is a decent round. Jeffrey Springs, he's a lefty. I like having lefties in the starting rotation just in case there's an emergency. I try to have at least 3 lefties on every team in BR that I have. At least 3. Generally relievers, they could be starters. Jonathan Scope is playing down, and I actually don't care for Jonathan Scope's swing. For me, the pick here is unquestionably Matt Chapman. He's playing up versus lefties, and he's already great versus lefties. He's got a beautiful swing. I think he's going to get upgraded to a gold on Friday. I'm taking Matt Chapman. We have another good starter, Frankie Montas. Sinker, splitter, cutter, glitchy delivery. These hitters and David Robertson don't do much for me. So boom, right out the gate, I have 3 solid starting options. I don't usually like to have that many silvers in the rotation, but we're going to make this team work. So I could take another one here. I could take Tanner Houck. I'm not going to. David Bednar is a decent reliever. He only has 3 pitches, but I really enjoy his 4-seamer and splitter and how they play off each other. So I'm going to take Bednar. Usually in BR, there's 1 or 2 relievers you don't use a ton, or you try to use them, or try not to use them, I should say. Bednar might end up being that person on this run, but we're going to take. Now, this gold round stinks. However, Josh Hader's one of the best lefties you can get. Josh Hader is going to get both sides out because he's a good reliever, period. Joe Morgan, this card's not that good. Wander Franco's playing down and has no pop. I'm not taking gold Chris Sale. So Josh Hader it is. So this team might be pretty pitching heavy, but that's okay. All right, this bronze round, Darwinzon Hernandez kind of stinks. Tyler Gilbert as a lefty starter throws a cutter, and I like that. So I'm taking the lefty. I'm taking the cutter. Always look for sinkers and cutters. The same here might go for someone like Alex Wood, lefty starter. Josh Stalmont throws nothing. Andrew Vaughn's playing up. Not my favorite. Zokane stinks. Let's take Alex Wood. Rotation is set. This team is weird, but it's going to be okay because we're walking through the process together. In my opinion, Xander Bogaerts is the hands-down pick here. Not only is he plus 13s versus lefties, which is just stupid. I'm hitting 350 with him. I know that I succeed, generally speaking, with Xander's swing. He was actually on my 12-1 team that I just finished up. When you compare it to the rest of these options here, Harrison Bader's not a BR card. Ozzie Albies is okay. Don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to save a spot for Brandon Lau at second base. He's a silver. Evan Phillips is going to be a shutdown reliever. But I already feel like my team is pretty pitching heavy just because of my starting depth. So I'm going to make sure I get a gold bat here. I'm going to take Xander, put him as short. Last gold round. Okay, so we're not getting Pete Alonso. Not a big deal. Sometimes the manipulation doesn't work, and that's fine. Right here, again, switch hitter. Aaron Hicks. He's disgusting. We're hitting 400. It's small sample size with 2 homers. Aaron Hicks is decent enough in center field. His reaction's not great. His fielding's not great. But his arm makes up for a lot of it. And if we need to move people around, we probably can. Heck, I think Ian Happ might even be a better center fielder. Marginally. It's close. Jonathan India is pretty good for a second baseman. 7-14, 5 for 7, 2 home. Oh, he might be the pick. See, these are you really got to think these picks out. Don't just like blindly start hitting buttons. Because it's a switch hitter and my team is lacking lefty bats at the moment, I'm going to take Hicks. I think Hicks is the smart play. I like his power. Bronze round. Okay, this is where we have to know our bronze pitching. Dre Jameson. You might look at this card and be like, who the F is that? I said that too the first time. Dre Jameson throws a sinker and a slurve. Slurve is a very good pitch when it doesn't hang. Who gives a crap that he's a 69 overall? Look at his velo. Look at his break. 95 velo, 87 break, throws a hard sinker, throws a slurve. 5 pitches as a bronze reliever. This is a no questions asked. Take him, put him in your bullpen, use him. He's very good. And boom, we got a supercharge. It does not matter that Alex Vezzi is here. It does not matter that Ty France is here. It doesn't matter that Merrifield is here. We're taking a Luis Arraez. He also plays a lot of positions, which we love. We're going to put him at second base. Okay, bronze round. Ooh, don't even get me started with Miguel Sano. Okay, so this is admittedly not a great bronze round, but it's Miguel Sano and it's not close. If you are a longtime MLB The Show player, you probably know that Miguel Sano is one of the fan favorite BR cards because he's got maximum power, pretty good swing, and he's a bronze. So you combine all those things together and he works. Now, in an ideal world, he's not going to start at first base for me. He'll probably either be a DH or an emergency bench bat. I'd prefer to keep him as a bench bat. But you look at what else is here. Trey Mancini's not my favorite. Harold Ramirez has no pop. He's got good contacts. And Jimmy Nelson does nothing for me. He's a bronze reliever that doesn't have anything meta. He kind of stinks. So I'm going to take Miguel Sano. Another bronze round. Okay, this is where it also helps to know your bronze relievers and know how they deliver pitches. So Zach Pop, he's got a boring card, right? Look at his card art. It's just him smirking like a funny man. He throws a sinker, slider, four-seam, whatever. A ton of pitchers have sinker, slider, four-seam. However, if you guys know your relievers, he has the same delivery as Adam Ottavino. Adam Ottavino is one of the hardest cards to hit in this game. Now, yes, Ottavino has better attributes. Ottavino also throws a cutter. I believe Ottavino might have a 5th pitch, but we're taking value here. He's a 70 overall. He throws a hard enough sinker, and he throws exactly like Ottavino. We're taking him. In an ideal world, I'd get 2 more lefties in my bullpen, and here we go. We got one of the best ones. Brooks Raleigh. I don't know. Sinker cutter, is a lefty, is disgusting. Now, it admittedly is a close race here, because Brandon Drury is very good. I'm hitting 429 in 21 at-bats. He's also +6 versus righties. At the very least, he's a good bench bat. But given where we are in this draft, I feel like I can find value still in the bronze rounds. I need the guaranteed lefty. So I'm taking Brooks Raley. This is where we're going to start putting stuff on the bench. When you have common rounds, you're either going to fill positional needs, like a backup catcher, like I'm sitting on right here, Jason DeLay, or we're going to look for speed. Jonathan Arose is not fast. Carl Chester's not very fast. So we're going to take Jason DeLay. He's going to slot at DH originally. We're going to put him on the bench. Kirby Yates, he is stinky poo-poo. Ildemaro Vargas is pretty stinky poo-poo. Jesus Sanchez is all right. Kerry Carpenter's all right. Okay, so In my opinion here, this pick is Kerry Carpenter. Kerry Carpenter is strictly a platoon bat. He is going to come in against right-handed pitching and rake in an emergency if we need him to. Jesus Sanchez can kind of do the same thing. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to take Jesus Sanchez because his fielding's also better. And if we need to do any emergency switcheroos with fielding, I think he offsets that. So Jesus Sanchez it is. See, we talk it through in our heads. All right, so we're not going to get another lefty in the bullpen, huh? Ooh, Wilson Contreras, though, or William Contreras, I should say, would be a very good DH. Because he can't field. Worth a shit, but he hits well. Colton Wong is not good. Ray Chang is not good. I think I'm going to take William Contreras and hope that last bronze can be a lefty reliever. So that's our DH right there. Looking at my team, I still kind of need a first baseman. It's not pivotal. I would like it. Oh, but we got Nelson Cruz. Oh, there's my DH. Can William Contreras play first? Let's see. It just glitched out there. We're going to go back in. Can William Contreras play first? He can't. He can only play right field. Can Sheffield play first? Can Happ play first? Okay, so what we might do, they're gonna get a little stinky, I think. We might move Happ to second, Arise to first, open up left field for William Contreras. Maybe. But when you look at this bat here, Nelson Cruz is playing way up. He's got a glitchy swing. I don't want him touching the field. But we're going to put Nelson Cruz on the team. Our last common needs to have speed. We're not taking a common pitcher. 23, 42, 82. Stone Garrett, my friend, you just got a Tops Now card. You're also on the team. Welcome home. Lastly, do we get a lefty? We don't get a lefty, but we get Justin Lawrence, who's a bronze, who throws side army, and he's got a sinker, and he throws very fast. Let's rearrange the team now. We know we want Nelson Cruz DHing. We know we want Luis Ariz playing first, and we know we don't want Miguel Sano playing second. So we're gonna do Contreras quickly, and then switch him with Happ. William Contreras is a disaster waiting to happen in left field. It's not gonna be good. But we have people who can replace him. He's in there for his bat. When we talk about lineup construction in BR, very important. You want to make sure, in my opinion, that your diamonds are at the top. You're not trying to set them up 3, 4, 5. I'm talking 2, 3, 4. I know that doesn't sound like much of a difference, but the more at-bats you can guarantee them, the better off you'll be. I prefer to even lead them off if I can. I'm going to lead off Ian Happ. I'm going to go MJ Melendez. I'm going to go Gary Sheffield. Luis Ariz is going to hit fourth, actually. I want to back him up with a lefty killer. So I'm actually going to go Chapman, Cruz, Hicks, Bogarts, Contreras. The reasoning behind this. Ian Happ, I will have a platoon advantage whichever pitcher is starting the game. Because he's a switch hitter. MJ Melendez actually hits left-handers better than right-handers. He's a perfect person to follow up Ian Happ. Gary Sheffield has a ton of pop. He's going to piss on whoever's pitching. Luis Ariz, kind of same thing. He doesn't have a lot of power versus left, but he's supercharged, so we want to get him at bats. Luis Ariz hits lefty. Matt Chapman crushes lefties, especially with him playing up today. Love that. Same thing goes for Nelson Cruz. Crushes left-handed pitching. Aaron Hicks, a switch hitter. Break up that bottom third of the order there. And then we just have guys I feel comfortable hitting with. Xander Bogaerts, I feel more comfortable with than William Contreras. Was this a great draft? It was okay. I would probably grade this draft like a B, B+. I'd like to have a 99 on the team, first of all. A Sosa, a Murakami, a Chipper Jones, someone like that. I also think we kind of have some positions that aren't incredible. We kind of had to get stuck with William Contreras in left field. You don't have to play every team you draft. You can redraft. If you have the stubs, go ahead. Redraft. There's no penalty for it. To prove a point, though, I'm going to play with this team. I'm going to let you guys know how it did at a later date. Because I want to see how I can do. I'm kind of on a BR heater right now. When it comes to pitching, this is kind of the year you want to use starting pitchers to start games. In the past, you wouldn't do that. Now we will. And especially on this team, because we have decent starters. Vance Worley, sinker cutter. Chris Bassett, sinker cutter. Frankie Montas, sinker cutter. Tyler Gilbert, cutter. Alex Wood, emergency lefty. You probably end up using 3 starters, maybe a 4th. My general thinking is to use 3 and then save your last 2 for emergency situations. Blowouts, extra innings, etc. Because those will all happen. Bullpen management, it's kind of just what you're feeling. Bullpen is very matchup reliant. Bullpen is very who you're good with, who you're not reliant. I try not to start any games with lefties as much as possible because I want to save them for the matchups later on. Doesn't always work that way. Sometimes we're in a little bit of a pickle, and we got to do it. But generally speaking, Brooks Raley and Josh Hader are not seeing the mound until I know that they're facing 2 lefties, or at least scheduled to face 2 lefties. Sometimes pinch hitters happen. Can't do anything about that. Looking at this team, it does look like David Bednar is going to be my guy who I'm like, let's try to hide him as much as possible. Kind of the same thing for Justin Lawrence. Even though he throws hard and has a glitchy delivery, he is very low rated, so I do want to be careful. Like I said, overall, this team is probably a BB+. I don't hate it. It's not my favorite, but I don't hate it. We're going to see how this does. I hope that these BR tips helped. Going over one draft isn't the end-all be-all, but I hope the way that I was able to talk through making each selection is meaningful. Make sure you're targeting specific cards you like. Leave positions open if you think you can manipulate the draft. I could not manipulate it to get Pete Alonso or Brandon Lau, but it's okay because Luis Arias is pretty damn good, and Ian Happ at second base is also pretty damn good. You're never really going to get screwed too bad if you miss out on the guys you were trying to get. This draft, like I said, ended up being pretty pitcher heavy. The outfield defense is gonna be a little bit of an adventure, but we have some guys we can replace. The goal is at least 9 wins, right? Because we get a guaranteed diamond for 9 wins. I'd like to get 12, even if it's 12-1. We get a nice big shiny boy. So let's try to do that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this helped you. Good luck on the new BR program that begins on Tuesday. Use these tips. Go flawless. Let me know how you do, and best of luck. Thank you guys for listening to the end. I appreciate you all. Talk to you next time.